Hey, how's it going everybody? It's Tanner here and welcome to a new Ninjago video here on the channel. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down the worst Ninjago set of every season. Of course, if you guys have seen the video that I put up yesterday, it's basically the counterpart to this video. In that video, I talked about the best sets of every season. In this video, we're going to be talking about the complete opposite, the Ninjago sets that I feel like are the worst of each individual wave for every season. Now, of course, I do need to give a couple disclaimers before we get started. First things first, we're not going to be taking a look at release waves here. I decided to only get one set regarding a certain season of Ninjago, so we're not going to be talking about the Ninjago movies or Legacy, just stuff relating to the certain seasons of Ninjago. I hope you guys can understand that. Also, for another thing, this is strictly my own opinion, and as such, you don't need to agree with my opinion. You don't need to accept it. You just need to watch, and if you enjoy, then you enjoy. If not, try not to get too mad at me in the comments. And also, you guys might have noticed that these videos are kind of similar to videos that I made a couple of years ago. These are supposed to be kind of updated videos regarding, I guess, that concept, if you will. I wanted to give an updated video to you guys regarding my updated thoughts, so here we go. Without further ado, I present to you guys the worst sets of every single Ninjago season. Starting with the pilots, I decided to pick the Spinjitzu Dojo set. Now this thing I really don't like. I mean, compared to the traditional Ninjago monastery that we saw in the show, it doesn't look at all like what we saw in the show. The new Legacy monastery definitely fills this role a lot better. This is kind of just like a large wall. I know that there were some spinners included in this set as well, and I guess that's kind of a cool play function, and I'm not saying that this set is absolutely downright terrible. It's just kind of underwhelming compared to both the Legacy remake and what we saw in the show. Definitely not a good way to start off this video by talking about the Spinjitzu Dojo. Definitely not a very cool set in my own opinion, and definitely a very weak one at that. Next up for Season 1, we have the original Destiny's Bounty. This is actually one that I probably will get a fair bit of hate for in the comments, but to be fair, I was never really a big fan of the original set. In the show, yeah, the original Bounty is phenomenal, such an amazing vehicle, and it's come in a lot of different shapes and sizes, and the sets have also come in different shapes and sizes, but the original is probably my least favorite set of the Season 1 wave. You do get some pretty spectacular minifigures in this set, though. You do get a couple of the Kendo Ninja, you get a couple of the snakes, but I don't really care for a lot of the design aspects of this set. I think it looks way too skinny and bare bones to be a Destiny's Bounty, really small if you will, and definitely not a super good set in my own opinion. So that's pretty much my reasonings as to why I don't like the original Destiny's Bounty set. Just kind of underwhelming, especially compared to what we saw in the series. I feel like future Ninjago advances could definitely, I guess, make for more show accurate sets. This is unfortunately before that time, and as a result, the Bounty does not look as good here. For Season 2, I decided to pick the Garmatron. Now for Season 2, there were a couple of sets for the final battle that I was kind of eyeing to put in this spot. I decided at the end of the day to pick the Garmatron because the Earth Driller already has a Legacy remake and the original is pretty much obsolete. This is unfortunately the only version of the Garmatron that we still have, and to me this looks really weird. It kind of looks like a hunched over slug of sorts, and it really doesn't look like the awesome tank that we saw the Garmatron being portrayed as in the actual show itself. So definitely not super show accurate here, and I really don't like, I guess, some of the ugly colors. It's really gappy. I had this set when I was young, and it's definitely not a good thing. Zayn gets this random little hopper thing that really doesn't make much sense, but you do get some pretty cool figures, including once again Zayn in his kimono form and General Kozu, so it's not all bad. It's just that the actual tank itself is very underwhelming, especially compared to the overall, I guess, actual tank that we saw in the show. Definitely not super good in my own opinion, so that's why the Garmatron is on this list. For Season 3, I decided to pick the original Thunder Raider. Of course, this is one that actually has a Legacy remake nowadays, like a lot of sets on this list do, but the original just doesn't look all that great. I had the original when I was young, and I ended up selling the original as well a couple years back, but overall the set itself, I don't know, I have some mixed feelings about it. It's easily my least favorite set from Rebooted. I bought every single set from Rebooted. That is the only season where I own every single set, or at least owned at one point in time. But the Thunder Raider was always my least favorite, just because I felt like the Thunder Raider itself was really weak, with not a lot of printing, not a lot of stickers, and just not a lot of texture overall. And also the treads looked really awkward on the original too. They looked kind of droopy and didn't really look as, I guess, beefed up as the new Legacy remake does. So I feel like the Thunder Raider has definitely been outshined nowadays. Cole's mech though is still cool. I still love that original design for Cole's Earth mech. It's just that the Thunder Raider itself kind of diminishes the set for me, in my opinion. Definitely not a cool design, and I prefer the Legacy remake to this one, of course. For Season 4, continuing the theme of J vehicles, I decided to pick the Electromech. Now, the Electromech itself, like the Thunder Raider, it's not all bad. There are just a few certain aspects of this set that I just don't like. I don't like the bare upper arms. I don't like the bare feet with the studs sticking out. I always thought that design was really awkward, and I really hate the back of this thing. The back looks insanely ugly, and immediately when I got the Electromech when I was younger, I immediately modified it because the back just looks horrible to me. Of course, I still have the modified Electromech nowadays, and I still keep it on my shelf, but The original, not a big fan of that. I just feel like the back is really, really ugly for no reason whatsoever, with a lot of awkward colors such as reds and yellows, and it just looks really weird to me. The front looks good. If you're looking at the mech from dead on from the front, it looks fine. Again, kind of gappy, kind of bare bones, but still not bad. From any other angle besides the dead front, that illusion kind of wears off, and you are greeted with the ugly mess that is the back of this thing. So that's pretty much the only reason why I put the Electromech on this list. Easily my least favorite Season 4 set. For Season 5, I decided to pick the Chain Cycle Ambush, just because I always found this set to be extremely awkward. I think the Chain Cycle itself is a really excellently designed ghost vehicle. It's just not my favorite thing. It reminds me too much of, I guess, the Skull motorbike from the Pilots, which I think that's a much better design as opposed to this one. You can't really tell what it's supposed to be, aside from the couple of, I guess, ghost logos, if you will, that are printed on this bike. For figures, you get Airjitsu Zayn, which I always thought was a really awkward choice, because this is the only set, aside from the Airjitsu Flyers, that actually includes an Airjitsu Ninja, at least in terms of Season 5. I know the Airjitsu Battleground set exists, but specifically in Season 5, this is the only set that includes an Airjitsu themed ninja, and it was always just kind of an awkward choice to me. Once again, they decided to give Zayn a really awkward little flyer thing, and I guess in a way that's the best word that I can use to describe this set. It's just awkward, and it's not really doing itself any favors in terms of minifigure selection. Nothing good in terms of figures, nothing good in terms of a build, just kind of an awkward, forgettable set in my opinion. Possession really didn't have any bad sets though, so I really can't fault that season that much. Next up for Skybound, I decided to pick the Ninja Bike Chase. Now the reason why I chose this one is because it's kind of a useless set. It's very useless in terms of my own opinion. For figures, you get Kai, you get Nia from Season 5, of course, and you get a random Sky Pirate with a jetpack. The jetpack is actually kind of cool. I will admit, the trash can being used there as part of the construction, not a bad feature, but the bikes themselves are just kind of forgettable and useless in my opinion. Kai has had better motorcycles before in Ninjago, and Nia's bike is just ugly. I don't like that design at all. I don't like how the front looks. I don't like the weird pipes and pistons everywhere, and also Nia in this set is in her Season 5 attire, so in my opinion there's really no reason to get this set, and this is a set that I never ended up getting because, again, it just felt useless and just not worth getting, I guess, because nothing is exclusive here, and what is exclusive are the motorcycles, but there are better motorcycles that exist both for Kai and for just Ninjago in general. So definitely a really forgettable, awkward little set in my opinion. Not too perfect of a set, and it's definitely not worth grabbing in my own opinion. Moving right along to Day of the Departed, we have the Samurai X Cave Chaos set. Now this set is one that I infamously kind of regret buying. I bought this set when it came out, and to me it seemed really cool, but then I ended up putting it together and I realized just how bare bones the thing is. I don't think it looks super great. I don't feel like it's concealed properly, if that makes sense. I get that it's supposed to be kind of like an underground tomb, but there's no underground here. It's just all one solid thing with a higher level featuring a little bit of desert, or an illusion of desert of sorts, to supposedly have battles fighting on top of the Samurai X Cave, and it just doesn't look all that great in my opinion. I don't really like the big ugly skull thing on the far left. Not a fan of that. I'm also not a fan of the minifigure selection here. You do get some cool figures, such as, again, you get Pythor, Kozu, a couple of older villains, you get Cryptor, you get Wu, you get Nia, a couple of Ninja, but I don't know, to me it just didn't really seem like that great of a set when I actually ended up building it. On pictures it looked a lot cooler, but in person it just wasn't all that great. The construction was really bare bones as well, and it honestly didn't feel like the Samurai X Cave from the show. I never really got those same vibes with this set. And this set was an example of, I guess, an overall frustrating build, so that's why I decided to put it in the Day of the Departed slot for this video. Next up, we have the Vermilion Invader, of course, from Hands of Time. This thing reminds me a lot of the Garmatron, except a lot worse and a lot smaller. I do think the construction here is a little bit better, but of course it's not that impressive of a vehicle, and it's just kind of a Vermilion-specific set, I suppose. Zayn's fusion outfit comes in this set, and I guess that's kind of cool, but the Vermilion Invader, I was never really a big fan of the Dorito shape, not gonna lie. I always thought the design was super awkward for this thing. It's just a little tank, and we've seen little villainous tanks before. Like, again, the Garmatron, the Destructoid is probably the best one that I've seen for villainous tanks, but this one, I feel like overall it has a better design than the Garmatron, but it's still nothing too special in my opinion, and it reminds me a lot of if the Garmatron just had a smaller Dorito-shaped younger brother, and then you get the Vermilion Invader. And that's pretty much going to do it for my thoughts on that. Definitely not a cool set in my own opinion. For Season 8, I decided to pick the Sons of Grommerdog headquarters. Now this thing itself isn't all bad. You do get some really cool figures. You get the exclusive Spinjitzu Lloyd, you get Ultraviolet, you get, of course, Snake Jaguar Zayn, but I was never really a big fan of the whole playset aspect of this set. I am an adult collector of Ninjago, so playsets really don't do it for me most of the time, and this set definitely didn't do it. It doesn't look great as a display piece. It looks more like it's intended for play, which of course is okay. Obviously Ninjago has to appeal to that core younger younger audience too, but there is such a thing as too much, and I feel like this set is just too much of that thing. And it's just too much of a set whose intentions do not line up with my wants and desires. So that's pretty much why this set is my least favorite Sons of Garmatron set. Not a bad set by any means, but still not something that I was looking forward to, and it would not make for an interesting display piece. So that's why it's in the slot here for the Sons of Garmatron season. For Hunted, I decided to put the Stormbringer dragon. This dragon always kind of bothered me because its head always looked really weird to me. I never could figure out why. To me, it doesn't really look like a dragon as much as it looks like kind of like a crushed up piece of fruit that I suppose you forget in your backpack or whatever, and then you take it out like a month later and it looks all deformed and squishy and it's just really gross and awkward. Yeah, that's this dragon's head. Not a good design in my opinion. I really like the body though, but Jay has had better dragons before, especially from Skybound, so I really don't understand why this dragon exists. You also do get a couple of dragon hunters along with Zayn, so I guess that's kind of cool. And of course, Hunted really didn't have the worst sets ever. I'm not saying this set is downright awful. It's just my least favorite thing about Ninjago Hunted, at least in terms of the sets. Definitely a really awkward dragon build that pretty much is awkward because of the head. Still not a fan of the head design. I've seen this thing on clearance at several points throughout my Ninjago career, and never has it made me want to buy it. Never has the price gotten low enough to the point where I thought, you know what? Yeah, that set's worth it. It's never gotten to that point. So the Stormbringer Dragon takes the Season 9 spot on my countdown. Of course, because March of the Oni really doesn't have any specific sets dedicated to itself, and we're not talking about Legacy in this video, we're going to jump straight into Season 11, and my least favorite Season 11 set is the Land Bounty. Now, a lot of you guys might be kind of upset by my decision to put the Land Bounty in this spot, but I honestly do not like this design. When I first heard that a Land Bounty was going to be a thing, I was kind of excited because I thought, think of the possibilities. This is not what I was expecting. In a lot of ways, yes, it is like the Destiny's Bounty on wheels, but I just find the design to be really kind of ugly and not too, I guess, easy on the eyes in my opinion. Of course, this set I never ended up getting because I never liked the design of this thing, but I can't really imagine that it would look good in person either, unless I'm kind of missing something here. You do get a lot of really cool figures, though, I will say. You do get Asphira, some of the Ninja, along with the Master Wu with the fuzzy cape, which I really want and I don't have just yet. But overall, this design I'm just still not a big fan of. The Land Bounty itself, I feel like, is still a really poorly designed vehicle, especially as like a headquarters for the Ninja. Not my favorite thing ever, I gotta admit. So that's pretty much why the Land Bounty takes this spot here. And it was also really expensive too, so I never really felt the need to spend 130 bucks for something that I thought was ugly. So never ended up getting the set, and I do not plan on getting the set to this day. So let's just move on to Season 12. In Season 12, I decided to pick Jay's Cyber Dragon. This is another Jay dragon that has a really ugly design, and it's just another dragon that makes me think, well, the Season 6 dragon for Jay did it infinitely better than this one. I understand that this is supposed to be kind of like a video game dragon, and the blockiness kind of makes sense, but I really don't like that head. Again, with the heads on Jay's dragons, I don't know what's going on with those head designs. They're just not cool in my opinion. Definitely not good at all. For figures, you do get Unagami, so that's cool. You get Jay and Nia. Easy way to get those two together, and a couple of Rat Pack members or whatever you want to call them down there. But the overall dragon itself, not a fan of. I do like the twin turbines on the back though. I think that looks cool, along with the wings. Again, this dragon isn't entirely bad. Prime Empire didn't really have a set that was downright awful in my opinion. Not even this one. This one's just kind of meh, kind of average. And it's a case of, well, I've seen better Jay dragons before, so why would I feel the need to get this one? So overall, I guess that's just my thoughts on Jay's Cyber Dragon. Not that great of a set, and it's honestly not worth getting in my own opinion. Moving on to Season 13, I'd say my least favorite Season 13 set is Zayn's Mino Creature. Again, Season 13 really didn't have an example of a bad set. All of the sets in Season 13 are very solid, including the Mino Creature. I honestly don't have a lot of issues with this set. It's just kind of my least favorite in the entire wave. I think the Mino Creature looks really cool, though, with its armor and its head. I just don't really care for the side build. It's kind of the weakest thing to me about the overall set. And of course, you get Hero Zayn, you get Hero Cole, so it's not like you're getting a bad deal here. And overall, the Mino Creature itself looks fine, and I really don't have a lot of issues with this set. It's just I needed to pick something for the Season 13 slot, and this is the set that I kind of don't like the most out of Season 13, so absolutely no hate or negative feelings whatsoever towards this set. It's just not one that I want necessarily, but it's definitely not an offensive set like some of the other ones that we've already talked about on this list. So let's move on to the final entry of this list, Season 14. My least favorite Season 14 set is the Catamaran Sea Battle. Definitely an example of a useless set in my opinion. I've already done a video discussing why I don't think this set is worth getting, and that's mainly because of the boats. I really don't like the design for either boat here. I think they look really gappy and kind of weird. Of course, that is, I guess, the appeal of a catamaran boat, as it is. It's supposed to look like that, but I don't feel like they look good for Ninjago. I don't like the Keeper's catamaran. I don't like Kai's boat. Honestly, there's just nothing about this set that kind of lures me in. Not even the figures. Usually with large sets like this, the figures kind of draw me in. No, every single figure here in this set you can get in other cheaper sets sets in the wave, even though there are only 4 sets in this wave, no exclusive figures here. So in my opinion, there is absolutely no reason to get this set. Not for me, and I will not be getting the set when it comes out in a few months. So that'll pretty much wrap it up for my initial thoughts on all of these sets here. Obviously, we did not cover the Ninjago movie, Ninjago Legacy, March of the Oni. We were just talking specifically about sets that exist for the Ninjago TV series and going by, I guess, their seasons, not by release wave or anything like that. So I hope it made sense to you guys, and I hope you guys are still okay. I hope you guys still like me after this video. These were just my own thoughts on a set from every wave that I just did not like. My least favorite set from every season, if you will. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought about my list, and hopefully you guys will leave your own thoughts down below in the comments regarding your least favorite sets from every wave. Of course, not everything in Ninjago is gold, and this video is kind of proof of that, at least in terms of my own opinion. And at the end of the day, that's all it was, just my own opinion. So thanks a lot for watching this video, guys. Let me know down below in the comments what you think, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and check out the links down below in the description for my other forms of social media. As always, big shout out goes out to my Patreon supporters, including once again the marvelous Jan. Thank you guys so much for watching this video once again. My name is TannerFishies, and with that I bid you farewell.